Hey everyone, it's me, Felicia, of the Lockhart Perspective and Headlines with a Voice. I want to tell you a little secret. This is what I used to do, because I don't do it anymore. I would go to the store, buy the barbecue sauce, pour it inside of a bowl, put a whole bunch of different spices, a dash of brown sugar, a dash of maple, and a dash of mustard, stir it all around, and everybody would be like, oh my gosh, this is the best, this is the best. But I was exhausted after all of that, and a lot of times I couldn't remember how many dashes of what I put in it. But I don't have to do that anymore, because now I just go to Judge Joe Brown's website and I order his 3-pack of bottled barbecue sauce. It is by far the best, and I do mean the best barbecue sauce I've ever eaten. And when you go to his website and you order his 3-pack, you'll see exactly what I mean. Head on over to jjbbbbq.com and order Judge Joe Brown's barbecue sauce. You'll be glad you did, and you're going to tell me about it. I know you will.
Good morning, good morning, good morning to everyone, and welcome. We're looking at the great job hoax. Did you know we had that going on? I'm sure you did. Everybody can feel it, even if they didn't say even if we don't say we know that it exists, we can feel it. I know I felt it because as I look around and I see people that are looking for work, and I hear them constantly saying that all these different companies are closing up, it gives me pause. Not PAWS, but PAUSE, because I feel like somebody's not telling us the truth. And so today we're looking at a few stories as well as a couple of video clips that are going to sort of shed some light on the fact that something is not right. I hope the sound today is better. We've been experiencing some technical difficulties. Why? I don't know. But I want to thank all of you for being here. So I hope you brought your coffee. I hope you brought your tea. Hey, lady, I was just thinking about you. It may give some people. And you know what? That's exactly what I was talking about, Shreya. Solemn peace. It's good to see you. I'm glad that it sounds better because I tell you, yesterday was a struggle. But here, let's get into this stuff, you guys. Now, I want to start here because this is so telling. The unraveling of this whole democratic or the democracy of our democracy. It's an ironic twist, if you ask me. All right. Um, those once warning of democracy's collapse may now be its greatest threat. The 2024 election season has seen unprecedented maneuvers. I like the article's author. He says maneuvers. I could think of a couple of words that start with man and, well, anyway. Has seen unprecedented maneuvers from manipulated legal battles to media silence aimed at controlling outcomes behind closed doors. With Donald Trump facing politically charged indictments and Kamala Harris rising through undemocratic means, the very mechanisms meant to safeguard democracy are being dismantled right before our eyes, folks, leaving voters completely in the dark. Now, is the fight to protect democracy now unraveling its core principles? I think so. The 2023-2024 campaign season is not just the strangest on record, it's also arguably the most anti-democratic. Ostensibly, the Democratic Party has claimed over the last decade that Donald Trump posed a continued and existential threat to the Republic. But they weren't saying the Republic. They kept saying he's a threat to our democracy. He's a threat to our democracy. And yet he is possibly not as bad as they are. They are the main ones shoveling this pile of maneuvers. See what I did there? But they're the ones to blame. That allegation subsequently justified a variety of anti-democratic means to neuter his first two presidential candidacies, his presidency and now his third and final run for the White House. A near decade ago, we witnessed the 2015-16 Hillary Clinton Democratic National Committee FBI-assisted effort to plant the false accusation of Trump's Russia collusion to warp the 2016 election. And by the way, nobody, not one person, got in trouble for that. The gambit centered around the fraudulent Steele dossier and nearly fatally crippled the 2016 Trump campaign. The hoax would later sidetrack 22 months of his presidency before being proven a fantasy. On the eve of the 2020 election, the left next birthed the Russian laptop disinformation campaign. That hoax warped a presidential debate with false charges that Hunter Biden's own incriminating laptop was once again the work of Russians seeking to conspire with Trump. Those unusual efforts continued during the Biden administration. For the first time in election history, the allies of one campaign sought to persuade some 16 states to try to remove a major party, likely nominee, from the primary and general election ballots. The plan was to smother a Trump third presidential bid in its infancy, and thus again, not allow the people to accept or reject his candidacy. And I think that's the biggest problem, is not allowing people to make their own choices. You see, they want you to believe that they are the party of choice. And by they, I mean the Democrats want you to believe that they're the party of choice. And they really are not. They're the party of make us your only choice. And if you don't, well, then we're going to lie to you and force you to believe what we want you to believe, which is where we're going today while looking at the impact that's been had with the job numbers. The plan was to smother a third presidential bid in its infancy for Mr. Trump, and thus, once again, not allow the people to accept or reject his candidacy. Nearly simultaneously, 4 federal, state, and local prosecutors filed dozens of felony charges against Trump. They all shared some strange similarities. These indictments would likely not have been filed had Trump not run for office, nor would any of them have proceeded had Trump not been a controversial conservative Republican seeking re-election. Almost all charges had not been filed against any other prior candidate and rarely a private citizen. Some of them could just as easily have been lodged against Joe Biden and his son. And that's fair, even though the article is stating this is absolutely fair to say. Some indictments and convictions may still achieve their objectives of bankrupting, jailing, or keeping Trump inert during the final weeks of the campaign. One of the Georgia prosecutors had undisclosed meetings with the Biden White House counsel. And we saw that when we covered the Fani Willis situation, that there were many visits that she made. And her lover also made visits to the White House. The president, with President Biden himself on the eve of the federal prosecutor Jack Smith's indictment, all but declared his campaign rival Trump guilty. Biden's own chief of the White House had also met privately, secretly, with Smith. And in an unprecedented fashion, Smith rushed his prosecution to ensure it synchronized with the 2024 campaign. I don't know how much more it could look guilty, but it does. Now, similar federal charges, I moved the mic, so let's hope you guys can still hear it. Similar federal charges could just as easily have been led again against Joe Biden if the special counsel in that case had not claimed that he could not convince a jury to convict a culpable but cognitively challenged Biden. Another Biden prosecutor mysteriously left his top position at the Justice Department to join the Alvin Bragg Manhattan prosecutorial staff. Nonetheless, Trump had survived collusion, disinformation, deballoting, lawfare, and a subsequent assassination attempt to surge far ahead of Biden in the June presidential polls. Biden's poll collapse promoted Democratic donors and high-ranking politicals to force a stress test presidential debate before either candidate was even nominated at their respective conventions. When Biden imploded at that debate, a supposedly once fit president was suddenly declared impaired. And a previously uninspiring Vice President Kamala Harris was abruptly transformed. I mean, she just transformed from being somebody that had to step down back in 2020 because really didn't nobody want to, she didn't even have one delegate. There was nobody that wanted her. Then all of a sudden she became the best replacement. Oh my God, we got to get her in there. We've been hiding her out in the shadows. We got to bring her out. Biden was forced to resign his candidacy to save the last 5 months in office from a Democrat threatened removal via the 25th Amendment. Meanwhile, Homegirl stood by knowing that this dude was not normal, knowing that he wasn't okay. While all of us in this form of media stood back and kept saying, this is abusive. Why are they allowing this continue? What is wrong with Jill? Why isn't Dr. Jill doing anything about this? Now, the primary votes of nearly 15 million people were abruptly nullified because they all voted for Sleepy Joe. But instead, they get cackling Kamala. Do you see how that worked? Again, we're not talking about anything that was done the way that it's supposed to be done under the quote unquote democracy that they love to tout. How Trump is a threat to our democracy. It's not really a threat to our democracy when you're the pusher. Harris, who had neither won a primary nor a single delegate through an election, was suddenly coronated as the new Biden replacement candidate and without an open convention, contest, or vote. It's the same thing that I noticed when he was sworn in as the president. All of that looked fake to me, too. I hope you brought your coffee because I sure did. Because this COVID is kicking my butt, but I'm here. Now, the donor political class further decided that, like a challenged Biden in 2024, Harris could not be allowed to hold press conferences. She would do a few, if any, live interviews, unscripted town halls, or any other venue given. Fears that her visibility would actually be a liability and endanger her candidacy because they already know she's propped up on some bull. There's nothing real there except for the real deal. All right? And that's her love of equity. She loves equity, loves that. And of course, you know that there's a totally different thing between equity and equality. So the party had proclaimed democracy dies in the darkness, now favors the shadows as the preferable means to obtain and retain power, whether by ignoring primary voters, open conventions, or transparent venues with voters. Add up the last decade's purchased collusion caper, unprecedented 2 impeachments, orchestrated disinformation hoax, efforts to deballot Trump, warping the legal system to jail him and to destroy his candidacy, forced removal of an unpopular but unwilling President Biden from the Democratic ticket, virtual anointing of Harris by fiat in his place, and the current collusion with a compliant media to avoid public scrutiny and cross-examination of Harris. And the conclusion? Have those who lectured us about democracy in danger now decided to save it by destroying it? I love it. I love it. I don't know if William is out there, but William, I love you, dude. I just love you, William. Now look here. We're going to look at this because this is why we're here right now. This is why we're here, right about here. The great job hoax, baby. Hey, if you can't make it, you fake it till you make it. All right? And that's exactly what's going on. They faking it until they make it. We ain't got no jobs for you, but we gonna tell you we got some jobs. This is such a mess. It is such a mess. The great job hoax, how fake numbers are hiding America's economic collapse. Let's listen to Bill's forward here. Here's the notes. Every month we're told the economy is booming with new jobs, but it's a lie, plain and simple. Hundreds of thousands of these so-called jobs never even existed. And when the government quietly revises the numbers, nobody notices or cares. Meanwhile, layoffs are piling up. More Americans are scrambling for work, and the cost of living is spiraling out of control. This is the bitter reality, the editor says. Our economy is unraveling, and those in charge are too clueless or too corrupt to admit it. The fake job numbers are just another smokescreen to keep you in the dark while the economy crumbles around you. Every month, this is where the article begins. It's almost always the same story. The government releases a number that indicates that the United States economy has been creating plenty of jobs. It's just been churning and churning them jobs out. Wrists twisting like it's stir fry. They just getting you some jobs. And then later on, that number is dramatically revised lower. But by the time that it's revised lower, nobody really cares anymore. The fake numbers that are initially released month after month have given the American people the impression that the economy is performing far better than it actually is. Now we are about to get another major revision to the employment numbers, which only happens once a year. That just happened, last Wednesday or so? But here's the deal. This is just basically telling you they are gaslighting you. This is the best example of a narcissistic relationship between the Biden administration and the United States citizenry. Sure it is. Because when you have somebody that you're supposed to be able to trust and they are lying to you, just blowing smoke up your tailpipe, and then they turn right around and tell you that you're tripping, you're not seeing what you're seeing, i.e., there's nothing wrong with the economy. We're not having a problem. This is the best economy in the world. This is the best economy. We're doing better than other countries. Everybody look at the jobs. I've created all these jobs. And then you scratching your head like, well, wait a minute. Why do I got 4 adults, children? Why do I got all of these kids and all these adults needing help? And everybody asking for money when they trying to keep a job, and they don't have a job. Some don't have a job. Some are working part-time. Some can't find any part-time. Some can't find any. Well, somebody's lying. It can't be the 4 people that I know and see. So it must be the government, but the government is steady saying things are okay. Now, once a year, the BLS benchmarks the March payroll levels to a more accurate but less timely data source. They're called the Quarterly Census of Employment and Wages, which is based on state unemployment insurance tax records, and it covers nearly all the U.S. jobs. The release of the latest QCEW report in June already hinted at weaker payroll gains last year. Now, on Wednesday, everyone is expecting that we will be told that hundreds of thousands of fake jobs that were originally reported never actually existed at all. Goldman Sachs and Wells Fargo Company economists expect the government's preliminary benchmark revisions to show the payroll growth in the year through March was at least 600,000 weaker than currently estimated, about 50,000 a month. While JP Morgan Chase and Company forecaster see a decline of about 360,000, Goldman Sachs indicated it could be as large as a million, a freaking million. Why don't they just give us an accurate number in the first place? Well, because if you did that, if they just gave us the correct number in the first place, then it would be bedlam and pandemonium. Yeah, you'd have a whole bunch of folk out here running crazy. That's exactly what you would do. You'd have a lot of people losing it. And that's not what you want. You don't want a lot of people losing it. So what do? You lie to all those people. And while you're lying to all those people, you're making those people think they're crazy. That's how people set in with, the scripture. Somebody threw the scripture in the chat yesterday, and they were talking about how, things are going to be so bad. And I'm paraphrasing the passage, but the passage basically says that it's to wear down the saints. That's how people get worn down, because they feel like they're chasing their own tail when they know what they saw, but you say there's nothing there and they're just chasing their tail. They're like, okay, then maybe what I'm seeing is behind me, but I thought that it was in front of me. You don't know what to believe. And that's what's going on right now. That's why people are just tired and they just don't care and they just want to give up. Not give up to the physical standpoint of life, but just don't have nothing to do with any of this. And that's exactly what they want, because they know that if you are tired enough, you just won't say anything. You just give up. You just get in line and comply. It's 1984 all over again. That whole entire book, whole entire movie series, all over again. So now, by now, everybody pretty much realizes that the initial monthly employment numbers are usually grossly overstated. So why not just tell the truth? Of course, telling us the truth would destroy the carefully crafted illusions that they have worked so hard to create. Even though large corporations are now conducting massive layoffs, I mean huge ones, over the nation, all over the world, all over the United States, we are supposed to believe that everything is just fine. Unfortunately, we have reached a point where even the official government numbers are starting to show signs of trouble. It takes about 150,000 new jobs each month just to keep up with the population growth. And the initial numbers that were given for last month was well below that level. Employers added 114,000 jobs last month, which was far below the Dow Jones estimate of 185. The unemployment rate also edged higher to 4.3%, the highest level since October of 2021. And I'm sipping my coffee. I sure am. This is the stuff that we really should be focused on. Because while they're sitting up here making us argue about this hyena's ethnicity or lack thereof, this is the stuff that's really going on. This is the clown college crap that we really should be dealing with. I mean, the whole dumpster fire that is the lies and the bevy of lies, and how they can sit there with a stone face and lie in your face and tell you that every problem that they've had over the last 3.5 years is going to get fixed by the woman that was down there in the West Wing, who didn't do squat doo-doo while she was there. She didn't do nothing except laugh incessantly and wait in the wings until such time as they were able to pull her out and make her Evita Peron. So now they're going to pull her out and turn her into the communist socialist leader. And everybody going to pretend like they didn't know what she was doing while she was stuck over there in the West Wing, cackling like a hyena. Yeah. Yeah, they want you to believe that. They need you to believe that. The unemployment rate also edged higher to 4.3%, the highest level since October of 2021. It should be obvious to everyone that more Americans are unemployed these days. In fact, most of you probably know someone personally. It's probably you. You probably know somebody that's looking for a new job right now. According to a survey that was recently conducted by the New York Federal Reserve, probably they were probably checking their work. They talk about it was reported, it was recently conducted, according to a survey that was recently conducted by the New York Federal Reserve. They never let a good opportunity go to waste. They're going to use it for all kinds of purposes. But what they telling us was they recently conducted a survey. Did it work? Let's check our numbers. Let's call it a survey. Oh, Lord have mercy. According to a survey that was recently conducted by the New York Federal Reserve, an all-time record high of 28.4% of all U.S. adults are currently looking for work. Help here. If you don't laugh about this ish, you're going to cry for sure. I just thought that was so ironic that the Federal Reserve calls it a survey. No, we were just trying to see, did it work? Joy, you, me, and everybody else, baby. Okay? Because I tell you what the deal is, even if you own a small company and you have clients, your clients are now backing out because they don't have any work left because they are the small guy. So you've got the middle class being eked out of positions. So where you were, myself, for example, B2B, business to business, that is collapsing. So what do? We go back to what we know. But if you've not been in the job market for a minute and you're of a certain age, the ageism clicks in. All right? The ageism stuff clicks in. And then you get a lot of people who are like, 24-year-olds trying to interview you. And they don't want to interview you because they say, well, like one girl told me, it looks like you could do my job. I said, baby, I don't want your job. Just give me a piece that has the commission. That's all I want. Because I can make more money than you if you give me something with commission. You keep your job. Just let you look good. Just give me the commissionable piece. Okay? So that is exactly what is going on. So that's why I'm laughing about them saying that they were running a survey. They wasn't running no blasted survey. That was a litmus test. It was a test to see if what they had put out there was working. All right? That's exactly what that was. They were just trying to check it out. They wanted to see, hey, what's good? Did it work? I got to read that again. I'm sorry. The New York Federal Reserve's latest poll of consumers found that 28.4% of respondents were looking for a job, the highest reading since March of 2014 and up from 19.4% a year ago. That includes both individuals already out of a job, I should say, and ones currently employed but seeking new roles. The readings from the New York Fed's thrice annual survey of consumer expectations labor market survey add to evidence that the United States economic outlook is worsening. But don't worry, Kamala's here. And she's got, here she comes to save the day. She looked just like Mighty Mouse. Or it's a dog, Deputy Dog. She looked just like Mighty Mouse, a Deputy Dog coming there. Here I am. I gotcha. We're not going back. You're not going back to what? That is what she's running around on stage screaming they're not going back. Not going back to what? Your mindless dribble. You're not going back to what you guys have done to the United States for the past 3.5 years or more. Because it's not just her. That is a machine. We're talking about a freaking machine. That party that once was, that is no more, which is why she keeps talking about looking, putting that over here and looking forward to over here and unburdening all of that. That's what she's talking about. All of that is communist dribble. Every inch of it. Every inch of it. So they're not wanting you to go back. The readings from the New York Fed's thrice annual survey of consumer expectations labor market survey add to the evidence that the United States economic outlook is worsening, even as some economists dial back their odds of a recession. A 9% increase in 1 year is absolutely terrible. Yep. Some people would lose their jobs with those kind of numbers. Instead, we got this chick pleading for her to add a little more to it. She wants to put some chiffon on it. Why aren't more people talking about this? We are definitely moving in the wrong direction very rapidly, and many are concerned that this could have troubling implications for the financial markets. If the employment revision that we get on Wednesday, it says, is large enough, it could potentially spark another round of selling on the Wall Street journals, Wall Street, period. Not Wall Street Journal, but Wall Street, period. Okay. And so that part. Let me get down here and let you guys see some more of this here. While the stock market has now recovered, from that stuff that homeboy did. Now that right there should have been illegal. The little ferret that popped out and got rid of everything and then scared everybody. Who's that? Warren Buffett. They got that little ferret did what he did. It scared everybody and they all scampered, and he, did what he did and moved on with it. But now that they say that now that it's recovered, a data revision showing a large decline could reignite fears that the economy is headed for a downturn. Markets have recently experienced a growth scare that led to concerns that the Fed is behind the curve. And we'll be monitoring Wednesday's release of the benchmark revision to see the market's initial reaction was in fact correct. This is Quincy Crosby, the chief global strategist at LPL Financial, told Bloomberg. It is getting very difficult for even the most blind optimist to deny where things are headed. The Conference Board's index of leading economic indicators have been falling for 29 months in a row. You would think that just about everyone would be getting the message by now. You can't, because a lot of these people have been injected with a lot of stuff and they believe a lot of stuff. You don't know what's going on in these people's brains. The people you think are human, that are not human anymore, that are cyborgs, they're all running around with the ability to really believe the BS that's being shoveled to them. And at the same time, that economic activity is slowing down. Most Americans are finding it increasingly difficult to make ends meet due to our seemingly endless cost of living crisis. According to a brand new survey that was just released, 82% of Americans believe that their money doesn't go as far as it used to. A number of Americans are pumping the brakes on spending as they continue to face elevated prices for everyday necessities like food, rent, and auto insurance. New findings published by Empower show that 62% of Americans feel their purchase power and income in relation to prices is decreasing due to persistent inflation. Another 82% said their money does not go as far as it used to. Additionally, 79% of the respondents noted that many household goods like cereal and chips are dwindling in terms of serving size. Yeah, well, you may get that big ass bag, but you only getting 3 chips in it. That's basically what they saying. You used to get a big bag and complain about that half an inch of air at the top before you got down to the chip. Now you putting your whole arm all the way down into the elbow before you come up with them 3 chips rattling around at the bottom of the bag. Oh my goodness. It says our standard of living has been going down, and everyone can see that. Yeah, he's absolutely right. This is good stuff here. Let's go on to hear what Mr. Naranga has to say about it. All right, let's go over here and see what he has to say. Let's just see what he has to say, because this is the truth. This is exactly what's been going on, and it's really it's very telling about what they've got planned. I still want to know where all those guillotines went that Home Skillet bought. I still want to know. All right, here we go.
Before we begin, I want to address the massive scandal around the revised job numbers that were just announced this morning, a little while ago. Just before I came up, I got to see them. And it really isn't a revision. It's a total lie. Total lie. There's never been any revision like this. They wanted it to come out after the election, but somehow it got leaked. It got leaked. Government leaks too. The Harris-Biden administration has been caught fraudulently manipulating job statistics to hide the true extent of the economic ruin that they've inflicted on America. The new data from the Bureau of Labor Statistics shows that the administration padded the numbers with an extra, listen to this one, 818,000 jobs that don't exist. So they said they existed, and they never did exist. They built them up so that they could say what a wonderful job they're doing. No, we've never had numbers like this. They don't exist. They thought they could do it sometime after, we have an election coming up very quickly, but they wanted this to come out after November 5th when it wouldn't have meant so much, but it came out a little early, so there's a patriot in there someplace, right? The real numbers are much worse than that. And Comrade Kamala, she's Comrade, the most radical left person ever to run for a high political office in our country, gets another 4 years, millions of jobs, and it'll vanish overnight. She gets 4 more years, you're going to see jobs vanish. Millions and millions will vanish, and inflation will completely destroy our country. We'll have inflation worse than they've given us. When I gave it to them, I had virtually no inflation. And now their number's up to 22, 23%, but their real number is probably 40 to 50% because a lot of the things in their numbers aren't included. I saw another one where the FBI releases crime statistics, and they weren't that bad. And then they left out little things like New York, Chicago. They left out various areas, and that wasn't so good. Your life savings will be totally wiped out. And if you put somebody like that in there with him, how about him? How about him? She'll destroy our country just like she destroyed San Francisco, just like she destroyed California. With the Trump victory, we will once again have the greatest economy in history. We're going to do things that are going to make us so great so fast. We're going to bring it back. We're going to make America strong again. We're going to make America great again. Going to be fantastic. It's going to be fantastic. So I just want to thank you very much for your support, because I've always had fantastic support from you.
All right. So we just heard that. And, there is another piece to this whole thing. It's actually the same thing, right? The same thing. But it's just showing you another side of that. It's showing you just another side of it. And it's dealing again with the massive revision. But I want to talk about how the scandal is actually unraveling in their face. Because if you are like our sister up here who just got through saying, hey, I've been looking for a job. I've been trying to find a job. I'm going to give you guys a couple of tips here if that's the truth. If you guys are really looking for jobs. Excuse me, I had to cough off air. But listen, if you're really looking for a job, I can maybe give you a couple of tips of some things that I saw that sort of started to change once I did something different. Okay. But let's look at this. This is looking for a job, is what it says. Looking for a job. Behind the numbers, the 818,000 phantom job scandal. 818,000 jobs. And this was back, last week, August 23rd, 3 days ago, maybe like Thursday or something. Now they are telling us that 818,000 jobs, 818,000 jobs that the United States economy supposedly created never actually existed at all. As you will see below, that was Donald Trump that we just got through seeing him calling it a massive scandal. I think there's so much trash that goes on in our country that we don't even bat an eyelash to some of this stuff. And I think that's criminal. I think that is criminal. We're not even batting an eyelash at the stuff that we know is illegal and so wrong. Somebody should be held accountable for lying like this. We should get back to the days where things, again, gave us pause or allow them to get pause. Yeah, you get pause. If you give us pause, then you're going to get some pause laid on you. See what I did there? All right. It says, as you'll see below, Donald Trump is calling this a massive scandal, and he's right. Month after month, we're given the employment numbers that are grossly overstated, and everyone knows it. The grossly overstated numbers make the economy look far better than it actually is. And if Americans perceive that the economy is doing well, they will be more likely to vote for the party that is already controlling the White House. Over the past few years, the difference between economic reality and what the government is actually reporting to us has become absolutely enormous. And many believe that this is being done for nefarious and political reasons. Let's just call a spade a spade. It's done for nefarious political reasons. It's not that it could be. It's not that it might be. That's what it's been. That's what's going on. Call a spade a spade. You know you got some flies in that buttermilk. You know something ain't right. We all knew that the revision that we were going to get on Wednesday would be huge, but very few expected that it would be this huge. U.S. job growth during much of the past year was significantly weaker than previously reported, according to the new data that was just published last Wednesday. The Bureau of Labor Statistics revised down its total tally of jobs created in the year through March by 818,000. Go ahead on round that up. Y'all, go ahead on round that up. Everybody in the chat, round that 18 up. Round it on up. Round it up. And I don't mean the 900. I mean round it on up. Basically, it's 1 million jobs. As a part of its preliminary annual benchmark review of payroll data that suggests the economy added an average of 174,000 jobs a month during that time period, below the previous 242,000 jobs estimated on a monthly basis. That amounts to about 68,000 jobs fewer. How can the BLS be off by 818,000 jobs? Well, either the BLS is highly incompetent, or else something else is going on here. I'll hold. Can you figure out what it might be? Approximately 30% of the new jobs that were reported during the 12 months ending in March have suddenly been wiped out. They don't exist. Month after month, the employment numbers have made the Democrats look good. Yeah. And you know what the funny part about it is you got all of these idiots running around here tap dancing for Kamala and tap dancing for Biden. They good. They good to us. They good. They good to us. Oh, come on, Kamala. Come on, Kamala. They just tap dancing. Come on, Joe. Get on down, Joe. Give it to us. Give us some more. Give us some more, Joe. They tap dancing all over the place, just like somebody out in the courtyard. And the funny thing is, they the main ones begging people for money. After they done tap dancing for Kamala Harris and telling you that that's the person that you need to vote for because she's a black woman, they're the main ones telling you that they're going to vote blue no matter who. They're the same people that's begging for coins. You don't even answer your phone for those relatives anymore because you ain't got no money to give them and you don't want to hear their sad story because it breaks your heart too. Meanwhile, come on, Joe. Come on, Joe. Give us some more. Talking about you're not going back to the last 3.5 years of lies and BS. That's what you're talking about. And then she's got her famous freedom song by Beyonce. Freedom? Freedom from you. Freedom from Joe. Freedom from the lies. Freedom from the WEF. Freedom from the world. All those big elites, or L-ites, as I like to call them. The L-ites. Okay? You guys walking around with forked tongues. Y'all. Now, whatever has a forked tongue, you can call it that, but you know what I mean. Month after month, the employment numbers have made Democrats look good, and now we have learned that those numbers were fraudulent. Well, do tell. You don't say. You believe it? You think they did that? Oh, come on now. Come on, man. After the gigantic downward revision was announced on Wednesday, Donald Trump said that it was a massive scandal. The Democrats got credit for 818,000 jobs that actually never existed at all. You doggone right they got it. Just like now you got this chick running around here talking about she wants it to be, she's going to fight for the border to do this and that. When this heifer and that dude both backed up their U-Hauls to the White House, they went right in and untied Donald Trump's bow tie at that border. And for the past 3.5 years, countless amounts of people from all places in this world have come through our borders. From the Texas to California, from all the different ports of entry, even from, you got to also consider, don't forget, okay? Do not forget other portions of North America, okay? Don't forget the Canada. I'm not going to, they are not innocent. They're coming every way they can. But they allowed this, and now she wants you to believe that she's the one that's going to make things change. They changed everything all right. When they talked about hope and change, they hoped that you would not see them stealing everything from you and leaving you with change in the bottom of your pocket. Now the change is gone. You had at least 2 25-cent pieces to rub together. Now what you feel is lint. In a minute, they're going to take that so they can make pillows for the immigrants out of it. That was a good one. Donald Trump has branded revised jobs data released on Wednesday as a massive scandal after it was revealed that the economy created 818,000 fewer jobs over the last year than originally reported. The Bureau of Labor Statistics said the jobs growth data for the 12 months in March was actually 30% less than its initial figure of 2.9 million. The update, which is based on a more detailed quarterly source, was the largest downward revision since 2009, my lord, coinciding with the global financial crisis. Oh, my lord. Apologists for the BLS are insisting that nobody could have anticipated this. Yeah, you could have. But it turns out that some people were clearly warning us about the overstated employment numbers all along. For example, several months ago, a Zero Hedge specifically warned their readers that payrolls are overstated by at least 800,000. And back in March, when most of the Wall Street and the economists still believed the lies that was spewed by the Biden Bureau of Labor Statistics, which intentionally uses inaccurate rushed data from its establishment survey, which is meant to pad sentiment, and make the economy appear far stronger than it is for its propaganda purposes. As one can see by the constant monthly downward revisions, we did an in-depth analysis look at the actual uncooked numbers published by the Philadelphia Fed Preview of the annual quarterly census of employment and wages employment revision and warned our readers that actual U.S. payrolls are overstated by at least 800,000. Zero Hedge nailed it. Why couldn't the BLS see the same thing? The good news is that the latest revision makes it even more likely that the Federal Reserve will cut interest rates in September. The significantly cooler labor market depicted by the revisions could affect the thinking of the Federal Reserve officials as they weigh when by how much. The lower interest rates now that inflation is easing. That's it. I don't like the lies. Anyway, let's go on. Many economists expect the Fed to reduce rates by a 0.25 percentage point next month, though some anticipated a 0.5 point cut following a report earlier this month that showed just 114,000 job gains in July. That ain't nothing. That's nothing for this whole entire country. Meanwhile, try to call one of your local stores and see if your call is not routed. A freaking local store. Try to call a freaking local store. Try to call your local Verizon store and see where your call goes. Try to call them and tell me where it goes. It's going to go out of the country. And that's not just them. You can call any company. Call Pizza Hut. Call Pizza Hut and tell me where your call goes. You ain't even got no money for Pizza Hut. I already know. I'm just trying to make a point that they don't have any jobs. And the majority of the stores that are in your local area are now closing down. Well, you can tell that there are no jobs because the middleman or the middle income people, they're having to shutter their businesses. And people who did own franchises are now shuttering their businesses because that's the middle class. And that's exactly who this homegirl is trying to get. Funny, isn't it? Yeah. Not funny, haha, funny, sad. All right. Pour me some more coffee while you guys is listening to this. So now, a rate cut cannot come soon enough. And even if it does, it's not going to be enough to help a lot of people. Hopefully, we will see a cut of at least 50 basis points because right now, large portions of the economy are really struggling. Just look at the restaurant industry. It employs millions of people. And as Kevin O'Leary has pointed out, it has definitely fallen on hard times. The U.S. restaurant industry finds itself on the menu. Seemingly every day, there's a headline announcing a bankruptcy, a layoff, or a store closure impacting one of the country's most beloved brands. Last month, Red Lobster filed for Chapter 11 after closing nearly 100 stores. But it ain't just 100 stores. You got to count all the people that were working there that are now going out into that very community looking for work. Cracker Barrel, with the restaurants in 45 states, has seen its share of value plummet over the last year. The once booming chain Boston Market, which boasted 1,200 locations in the 1990s, is now reportedly down to 24. So why is this happening? According to O'Leary, there are several factors that are combining to cripple the industry. Let's just put it down here where the cows can get it. I'm just going to put it down here as I pour my refill. Let me tell you what it really is. It's the Purple Revolution, baby. It's the Purple Revolution, baby. That's what this is. This is the Purple Revolution. They're here to take over this place. They want this place. They want everybody in this place to be walking around like drones, wearing the exact same color clothes, all shopping at the same exact place that's owned by the government, all living in the same exact housing that's owned by the government, all able to go and purchase the same foods, nobody able to get anything different, anything better. They want to make sure that everything you buy looks like them. It has their name on the package. It has their brand all over the place. They want you to drive your little bitty electric car up and down the little bitty road that's now going to be congested. Okay? They want you to do that. Why? Because it's the Purple Revolution, baby. So let's listen to what Mr. O'Leary says, that there are several factors, but that's just my piece. That's all I'm going to add. Several factors that are combining to cripple the industry. Supply chains crippled by the COVID pandemic lockdown haven't recovered. Food costs, especially for proteins like chicken, beef, seafood, after they burn down all of the meat packing plants, all of the food packing plants, all of the chickens that they said caught diseases, all of the beef that was laying upside down with all four paws or all four hoofs headed northbound, all of them in the middle of the doggone streets, all in the middle of the pasture, all the cows, all the seafood that looked like bubbles because they done got rid of the seafood for people who do eat seafood. All right. You got the seafood people making fake seafood, shoving it full of all kind of chemicals, stuff making bubbles. I saw a lady with some seafood in her hand and a bowl on a video, and she was moving it around as if it was soap and bubbles was coming off the seafood. Why? Because it's all fake. And that's exactly what I was talking about when we were listening to RFK Jr. speak. Because this man is really telling the truth. He's telling you. See, he's saying what everybody's seeing, but there's nobody saying it. And because nobody's saying it and everybody is seeing it, everybody that sees is just looking at each other until somebody like him comes out and stands on Trump's borrowed stage and upstages that cat. Because he's speaking the truth. He's saying what you see. Especially proteins like chicken, beef, seafood, they're up 30 to 40% over the last 36 months. And worst of all, for the restaurant industry, customers haven't returned from the shutdowns. I can't argue with a single thing that O'Leary said there. A restaurant apocalypse, help here, Lord, has already begun, and it's going to get even worse during the months ahead. That means that a lot more restaurant workers are going to be losing their jobs, and that this is really bad news. The article goes on to say that, as I noted yesterday, an all-time record high of 28.4% of the U.S. adults are already currently looking for a job. The New York Federal Reserve latest poll consumers, okay, we already saw that part. That's the same author. He's recounting, he's giving us an idea of what he's already said. It is infuriating to hear the Democrats talk about how well the economy is doing. They want everyone to believe that everything is just fine, and meanwhile, thousands upon thousands of businesses are declaring bankruptcy and have entered a period of tremendous economic chaos. But the Democrats would have us believe that everything is rainbows and lollipops. Thankfully, there is a growing number of people that can see right through their carefully crafted charade. Ah! Here we go, baby. Here we go, baby. We're going to take a commercial break and come on right back.
Hey everyone, it's me, Felicia, of the Lockhart Perspective and Headlines with a Voice. I want to tell you a little secret. This is what I used to do, because I don't do it anymore. I would go to the store, buy the barbecue sauce, pour it inside of a bowl, put a whole bunch of different spices, a dash of brown sugar, a dash of maple, and a dash of mustard, stir it all around, and everybody would be like, oh my gosh, this is the best, this is the best. But I was exhausted after all of that, and a lot of times I couldn't remember how many dashes of what I put in it. But I don't have to do that anymore, because now I just go to Judge Joe Brown's website and I order his 3-pack of bottled barbecue sauce. It is by far the best, and I do mean the best barbecue sauce I've ever eaten. And when you go to his website and you order his 3-pack, you'll see exactly what I mean. Head on over to jjbbbbq.com and order Judge Joe Brown's barbecue sauce. You'll be glad you did, and you're going to tell me about it. I know you will.
So I'm a little tired of hearing stars like people you guys may know, Ricky Smiley coming out lambasting people, specifically Black people, for not voting for Kamala Harris. He's telling people to block them at all costs. If you have people on your social media that are not supportive to Kamala Harris, he's telling people to block those folks. And then you've got people that are like Steve Harvey, going around here telling people that, you know, you need to support this Black woman. You need to support this Black woman. If you guys don't see that these folks is lying to you and laughing in your face, they're literally playing in your freaking face, then you deserve every flipping thing you get. Every flipping thing you get. The reason why the heifer is quiet is because she don't want all of that trash that she knows she gonna give you. If she, let me put it in street terms. The reason why the heifer is quiet is because she don't want to let you know about that work she got for you. As soon as you decide that's who you want to continue with 4 more years of this trash, lies, and deceit, as soon as you say you don't want it, then you might come to some terms with yourself that you made the right decision. But if you decide that you do want this, you better be prepared for everybody and their mama to be walking around wearing the color gray, muted colors, mute tones. That's all you're going to be able to find in the store. Right now, I want you to go to the store and buy some pink bed sheets. Find some pink bed sheets. Find some light blue bed sheets. Go to a standard store. I want y'all to find some pink bed sheets. If you can't afford them, baby, take a picture. Pink, lilac, yellow, green, orange, light blue, canary yellow. Go and take some pictures of that. You're not going to find them. You know why? Because they've already muted out your clothing and your bed sheets and your towels at local stores. Now you can get them online because basically that's what they want to control. They don't want all of these little stores inside of communities, because when you cut up and act up, they want to be able to cut off your ability to go in and shop. But I want you to go to the store and buy some things that are colorful. Now, you might find them at BJ's, okay? You may find them at a few sellout places where they have those liquidation stores. You might find that at Ollie's. You may find it at some of those stores where you can get where people just buying lots of things and selling them at a reduced rate. You're going to find them there, but you ain't going to find them at no Walmart. You're not going to find them at no Target. You're going to find muted colors. All right? Ladies, if you're trying to find pants, you're going to find a boatload of tops. You're going to find hardly no pants. You're going to find some trousers, but nothing that you might wear. You guys think I'm tripping. I ain't. I told y'all this was going to happen a few years back. I need to pull out some of them old Lockhart Perspective talks. Because what I'm trying to tell you guys right now is every single thing you see is being done by design to dumb you down and make you all just one lump, one gigantic workforce. That's it. But what you gonna do? What kind of work you gonna have? Well, I wonder what's going on in Venezuela. What are they doing? Oh, I remember what happened. They didn't have any more food. They had no income. They started eating donkeys and flamingo. But that would never happen here. Maybe it'll be what happened to Cuba when they had all that wonderful sugar, the sugarcane fields, and everybody was able to become an entrepreneur at one point and do their thing. Maybe what happened to them after will be what happens here. All of industry is gone. All entrepreneurs are no more. Even the street vendors that you think is a street vendor ain't. He's really a subsidiary of the government, and everything you buy is from the government. Everything you wear, you bought it from the government. And the little job that you do have, for those of you who will work, are working for the government. Do you frickin' get it yet? I'm gonna vote blue, no matter who. I understand, Sister Felicia, but I'm gonna vote blue, girl, no matter who. Woo-hoo. Kamala, we gonna have us a girl in the house. And here goes another thing, because I must say this right now. Before I give you this next audio and video clip, I'm going to make this a declaration right now that I don't want to see nobody else comparing Kamala Harris to Miss Fannie from Mississippi of 60 years ago. How dare you guys compare her to her? Yes, she was a freedom fighter. Yes, this woman was an activist, but this woman was from the South, where my folk is from Mississippi. My mama from Sunflower, my grandmama from Humphreys, my other grandmama, all of us from different counties of Mississippi. This chick ain't us. Now, because it's the 60th anniversary, people are comparing her to Kamala, and you idiots are standing up in droves, hailing this broad a hero. And behind her eyes, she laughs because she knows she's a liar. But behind her eyes, she's laughing at you.
From the Labor Department shows the U.S. economy created fewer jobs than first reported over a 12-month period.
That correction is in the hundreds of thousands. It's a big oops. It's fueling concerns the labor market is not as strong as previously thought. Laura Aguirre has details.
It's an abrupt about-face for the U.S. labor market. Newly revised numbers released by the Labor Department Wednesday morning were stunning. showing 818,000 fewer jobs created over the 12 months leading up to March 2024 than previously reported. Data revisions are common, but not to this degree, and Wednesday's correction is the Labor Department's largest downward adjustment since 2009. Now, behind the eye-popping headline, many economists had indicated they were expecting a sizable revision, possibly up to 1 million jobs less. So Wednesday's number, while still high, did stop shy of that. And labor's data shows sectors like private education, healthcare, government, and other services adjusted up in new jobs. Overall, the revision signals a labor market that is still hiring, but at a slower pace. It's also considered preliminary and won't be finalized until February of next year. So what about the Federal Reserve's anticipated September interest rate cut many Americans are banking on to make loans and credit cards a little more affordable? Most economists agree Wednesday's revision not only cements that cut next month, but it could spur the Fed to make it deeper than originally expected. Something Chairman Jerome Powell could forecast when he speaks Friday following the annual Economic Policy Summit in Jackson Hole, Wyoming. I'm Laura Aguirre reporting.
All right, so here's what I'm going to show you, because this is what I was referencing for those individuals who are not familiar with Fannie Lou Hamer from Mississippi. This was at the DNC.
Delegates. Now, you know, I've seen a lot in my lifetime. I was just 22 years old when Fannie Lou Hamer made her presence known at another Democratic convention. It was in 1964 in Atlantic City, and she arrived with a group of Black delegates from Mississippi. And she simply asked that her delegates be seated in place of the state's all-white delegation. She told the people in the room about the violence she suffered at the hands of white police because she, a Black woman, had demanded her right to vote. When she finished, she asked the country a simple but profound question: is this America? She didn't get the outcome she was hoping for in Atlantic City, but you can bet that when the official Mississippi delegation was seated at the convention 4 years later, Fannie Lou Hamer was sitting there with them. Now here we are, 60 years later at another Democratic convention with Kamala Harris as our party's nominee. Oh, so I know there is no better leader to marshal us into the future. Kamala has been a courtroom prosecutor, a district attorney, an attorney general, a United States senator, vice president of the United States. And when the dust settles in November and Americans of all stripes have elected her their president, I know she'll be thinking about Fannie Lou, who I happen to know is one of Kamala's heroes. In that moment, all of us, from New York to Pennsylvania, to Arizona, to California, we can ask ourselves, is this America? And we will be able to say loudly and proudly, you're damn right it is.
All right, so now I've already told you how I feel. That is a lie. and I'll give my commentary after this.
If the Freedom Democratic Party is not seated now, I question America. Is this America, the land of the free and the home of the brave, where we have to sleep with our telephones off of the hook because our lives be threatened daily, because we want to live as decent human beings in America?
Mississippi came to Atlantic City to make this challenge to say that, hey, Mississippi actually deserves better. Mississippi deserves to be represented in a full account of democracy. Not only that, we want to hold a mirror not only to our state, but to America to be what it said it could be on paper.
It was here that she delivered her famous speech in favor of integration, and where she recounted the harrowing events that she had been forced to face just to exercise her most basic rights. And as this marker notes, while the efforts to integrate the delegation were not successful in 1964, it directly led to Mississippi's first integrated delegation in 1968.
So, because I am a Mississippian, born in Harrison County, again, mama born Sunflower, her mama born right up the street from her, my other grandmama from the Choctaw seat, it bugs me. I mean, you have no idea how it bugs me to no end that they are comparing Fannie Lou Hamer to this bag of hair. It absolutely bothers me because that right there should show you that these people are playing in your face. Just like Doc just said, they are playing in your face. They're on the TV playing in your face, hoping and betting that you don't even know your own history here in the United States. You don't even have to call it Black history. You don't even know your own history if you guys are still deciding to go that direction. And if you know anybody who is, you go ahead on and play this for them and let them know I said it. Because that lady has never had to deal with anything that either of my grandmamas ever did. And her mama and her daddy's mama ain't never had to deal with anything that my people did living in Mississippi. So how dare Maxine Waters and that old beat down wig get up there with all that dust coming off of her face with her decrepit fingers, stand up there and compare the two. They are not comparable. They are not. It's like ordering some oranges and they send you a bag of old shoes. Yeah, that part. Sheet of old shoe. So when we consider every single thing that they are doing to lie and everything that they are doing to put it in your face, they are shoveling a lie to the American people. They are hoping that the individuals that they're bringing over here do vote the direction that they want to. They're giving them the carte blanche to vote in hopes that they remember them. Oh, remember, we're the ones who put that money on that card for you every single month. So you got to go down here and get you a driver's license, even though you can't have tail drive in your own country. You're going to come over and get you a driver's license and get your right to vote. Come on over here and vote for us. This is a communist takeover. This is beyond socialism. This is the bowels of hell taking over our country. And if you guys don't see it, and if you don't tell your family, and if they don't see it, well, then you know what? I did my part. I said what I had to say. I tried what I had to try. And that's all you get out of me, because there ain't nothing left to get. Trust and believe. And I'll say this. There are those of us who have been attempted to get got. You just ponder that in many different directions, many different ways. But the Most High, if it were not for the Most High. Thought you got me. All right. I appreciate each and every one of you guys for hanging out with me this morning and overlooking my stuffy nose. Hopefully it'll be gone pretty soon. I've been taking enough stuff to make it go away, and sweating it out and doing all that stuff that we normally do, right? Okay. So you guys take care of yourselves, and remember that you can only take care of other people after you take care of yourself. And then sometimes, especially in these times that we're in right now, you're going to have to figure out who's worth holding on to and who's just hanging on to you. Okay. All right, Stephanie, girl, you see, Stephanie, Martha sees, Starfire, you see, Joy, you see, Rebecca, all y'all see, Michael, you see. When I tell you, Zach, what's up? And Noah, hi, Rage, come on, Rage. Okay, everybody who is making comments and those who are listening, I want to thank each and every one of you guys, because I know a lot of times people are just listening in their shops or listening doing their housework or whatnot. And I want to tell you, I recognize you and I appreciate you as well. Please share this out. And if you cannot afford to bless the channel and help to keep us afloat, at least hit that like button and maybe watch one of their ads, because that helps a lot, whether you know it or not. Okay, Daryl Calhoun's in the house. All my super bad mods. I got some of the baddest mods around. Michael Powell, Daryl Calhoun, Rage the Machine. I got, oh my goodness, all of y'all. Who else is in here today? I got a lot of you guys in here. Yeah. All right, let's see who I got my brothers. I got all my brothers with me. We are family. Okay. No, not now. Get better. All right, you guys, all I gotta say is don't believe the hype. And when they start telling you that Kamala is for you, you already know that ain't true. Y'all take care of yourselves, and then you can turn around and take care of somebody else. But make sure that between now and the next time I see you, that you take care of my friend, because my friend is you. Peace.
Hey everyone, it's me, Felicia, of the Lockhart Perspective and Headlines with a Voice. I want to tell you a little secret. This is what I used to do, because I don't do it anymore. I would go to the store, buy the barbecue sauce, pour it inside of a bowl, put a whole bunch of different spices, a dash of brown sugar, a dash of maple, and a dash of mustard, stir it all around, and everybody would be like, oh my gosh, this is the best. But I was exhausted after all of that, and a lot of times I couldn't remember how many dashes of what I put in it. But I don't have to do that anymore, because now I just go to Judge Joe Brown's website and I order his 3-pack of bottled barbecue sauce. It is by far the best, and I do mean the best barbecue sauce I've ever eaten. And when you go to his website and you order his 3-pack, you'll see exactly what I mean. Head on over to jjbbbbq.com and order Judge Joe Brown's barbecue sauce. You'll be glad you did, and you're going to tell me about it. I know you will.
Lockhart Perspective.
To receive instant notification each time I upload, please hit the subscribe button and the bell notification.
Lockhart Perspective. Helping you along the way. Helping you to make it through another day.